It's essentially how the oneness of marriage or like a serious relationship even has been forgotten.
Yeah.
It's now like more so two separate people living separate lives under one roof.
Right.
So they still have the one, but it's like when you get married specifically, it's you're becoming one. And a lot of people who are married have forgotten that. Or even in a serious relationship, like they don't realize that they're going to become one.
Right.
So
yeah,
I guess where should we start? Because we kind of like just jumped into it the other day when we were talking about it, and hit on a lot of good points.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could talk about kind of the issues that are caused by not thinking this way and how it ends up causing harm, right? I mean, like even we could talk about like conflict, right? So when you have conflict, if it's you did this and I did that and you made me feel this way and while some of those things are true, I think every single one of us can get caught up in, like when you're saying those things, you're saying I and you, instead of us and thinking in terms of us. And so I think that that's a great example. It's like if you're constantly thinking in your head, one, then it's like, your left hand, if your left hand messes up, your right hand isn't like, you screwed up. It's like, it's still your body. It's still part of you. Like you own the entire thing. Or if your left hand is hurt, you don't think the right hand doesn't say, well, it's your problem. It's like, it's like your body. You feel the entire thing. It affects the entire body. So,
well, and every, therapist, psychologist type of person tells couples to look at it, you guys versus the issue or the problem rather than versus each other.
Right.
Right. Because that's what's going to actually solve the problem a lot of the time is looking at it from a unified front.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than like two people trying to like beat each other up because each person wants to be right because they're so heavily individualized still. Right. And I think that's where our conversation took a turn too when we were talking about the other day is that we are so heavily individualized to the point that now marriage doesn't mean becoming one. Like now it's normal for people to get married and still live their individualized lives just under one roof or, like they have a conjoined bank account, but they still have separate finances and, all of that stuff that I think too, we also don't depend on each other as much anymore either because of this like heavily individualized concept that we've embodied. The Optimist book or Optimism, I forget the actual title of it. That is probably the most profound thing I learned from the whole book. Was that we are so heavily individualized, and just really thinking about that when I read the book, I was like, yeah, it's in everything. Like men are so individualized, women are so individualized, and then we're so focused on ourselves that when we come together, like getting married, that we're still so separated. Like, and we're just constantly trying to protect ourselves rather than going all in and making an actual commitment. We still have all these backup things, right? Like we still have our own savings account in case God forbid. We still have, like our certain things in our name because like what if we get a divorce? And then, it's all of still focusing on like what is going to happen to me.
Right.
If something were to happen.
It's like having a contingency plan is the opposite of becoming one because it's not a trust. You're not having trust.
Right.
And so you're thinking about, you still have to have a thought about what happens to me, like the individual me, as opposed to going full in and saying, no, I'm committed for life.
Right.
Aside from abuse situation, obviously those kind of things.
We don't condone those things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're in an abusive situation, obviously you have to get out. But you're committing for life. Like there's no take backs. There's no, like you're putting it all in. You're basically to the point where if you get ruined, you get ruined. Like you trust this person enough that they're not going to leave you. They're not going to.
You say vows for a reason.
Right.
Like, I feel like people just think that that's something you do at your wedding now. They don't even realize what they're saying, like in sickness and in health and richer or poorer. Like, that is what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, oh, my husband loses his job, now he's poor, I leave because I have my bank account, you know, like it's supposed to be through all those things because you found somebody that you trust and you want to do life with, and you're committing to doing life with them, whatever that might look like. And people, I don't even think they realize what they're committing to these days. I think they're saying the words and they're not really becoming one.
Right. Yeah, because it's not.
Couple.
Yeah, because it's not really till death do we part, right? It's until
till I'm done with you, I guess.
Right, or we each fight so much that we don't want to be together anymore. Which is not. That's not the. You can't have that as an option. You can't think of that as an option.
Well, you're going to fight with everybody. Like, I mean, look at your family. Look at your like friends. Like, do you have any of those people who you've never had any sort of argument or disagreement with? No. So it's just not realistic.
Yeah, but it's a matter of resolving them. I think to get to the point, I mean, we were talking about this the other day too in the car about it's like plaque on your teeth and the difference between couples who end up having a healthy relationship and staying together are the ones that go and visit the dentist to get the plaque removed, right? And the plaque is the bitterness, the hurt, the things that you've had in conflict before that builds up it builds up into resentment. Plaque equals resentment. And then, you know, if you aren't regularly getting a cleaning, then that will build up until it becomes cavities and tooth decay and the relationship decays.
Each other better than